balance amongst all the characters of like the stakes got so high, so fast, especially because now we all know. So there's this sense of, you know, when you're caring for yourself and grown-ups, it's one thing, but when you're caring for an unborn child and the safety of that child, it's another. So I feel like the last final half of the second season just gets super high stakes, super dangerous, and everyone's kind of on hyper alert. So
super epic as well.
Yeah.
It's just like every episode. I mean, you think already so much has happened this season. We're halfway through the season. The second half is always going to be more and more and more. So yeah.
What was that like to have Waverly get to tell Wynonna at the end of the episode, guess what, I might not be an Earth?
I feel like it's been a long time coming for Waves. Like we forget, like a lot of time has passed. We had that conversation with Bobo that like really struck, you know, a huge chord in her. One thing I admire so much about Waverly is when other people are in need and they need Waverly to be supportive of them, she puts her stuff aside, and that's like the most admirable thing. But also, as a kind of, you know, supporter of Waverly, I'm like, no, you need to also address the things that are close to you. So I'm so proud of her for finally telling her big sister and addressing it.
So Waverly and Nicole's relationship, like how are these stressors, are they going to make it? They've had a kind of rough go of it this season with the whole possession and the black bag, so how is that going to affect them?
I think it's been tough because, you know, it's a new relationship and there, you know, it's not very often that you get that many stressors on such a new relationship. So I think it's really showing kind of the strength of their bond and just how great of a fit in for each other, because they seem to be pushing through all of these really big obstacles and roadblocks.
Exactly, and they always come back together despite, you know, we have little disagreements or whatever, like they're always striving to come back together.
Oh, she's incredible. What's it been like having Wynonna and Nicole, like, having more of that bonding time? Because they only had, like, what, a few scenes last season.
It's so few and far between, but I really love working with Melanie so much, and she's such an, I mean, as you guys all have seen, an incredible actor, and I get really nervous when I have to work with her because I admire her so much, so it's definitely
we
like,
all do.
Yeah. Do you
like,
feel that too? I was like,
every single person
that day.
Okay.
Super prepared, but I love the relationship between Nicole and Wynonna, because I think there's this sisterly protection that Wynonna has, and they both care so much for the same person, which is Waverly, and so it's really fun to see that dynamic play out of that. You know, Wynonna wants Waverly to be happy, but she's also like, well, you're my sister and I want to protect you, and you know, I love it. I think it's such a fun dynamic.
And so real, like that's so true. Like people that have siblings will understand that like nobody's ever going to be good enough for your sibling. It's a hard, you know, hard dynamic.
So what sort of aunt is Waverly going to be?
The best, obviously. Auntie Waverly. I mean, just that phrase makes me go giddy. It's so cute, right? I think Waverly, it was the last thing that she was expecting. Obviously, I think it was the last thing that everybody was expecting. But Waverly will always step up to the bar and like make sure she'll be starting knitting by next week. Like, she'll take up knitting to make sure that she has perfect clothing.
Is she going to be super protective?
You can imagine, yeah, absolutely. If she gets angry about them being drunk in a strip bar, I think.
Emily's really stretched you this season. What's that been like, having to really jump out of being like the bubbly Waverly and then going into Waverly? Has it been pretty seamless for you to go in between so much? Like,
we were talking about this last night at the party. I feel so fortunate that I was given so much more this year, and it really, really has pushed me. And even on set, I kept saying to Kat, like, we're doing all right, because you know it really was last year. I was in maybe like 2-3 days a week maximum, whereas this year I was in, you know, every day doing multiple scenes a day, and it's a very different skill being able to maintain that stamina. And sometimes you don't have as much time to prepare, and I like to prepare because I'm a planner. So not having that time sometimes made me feel a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I did my best, and I hope it kind of, you know, shows.
So good. Isn't it amazing how it's like multi-talented, and I think it's just, I told you this last night.
I know, it's like we're having the same
But I love seeing her get to play all of her strengths. It's amazing, she's such an incredible performer, and you're only seeing one side of her as an actor, but the fact that you now get to see her sing and dance, and you guys get to all see like how multifaceted of a performer she is.
I'm so lucky.
Awesome.
Like, I honestly don't think any other show would have done this. It was Emily Andras who was just like, I love you guys as people, let me incorporate things that you feel confident doing, your strengths into the show to show the Urkers like how much, you know, you can do, which is very special, and I thought
And it's fun that I think she's starting to write, because when they're casting the first season, they're writing characters, they don't know who's going to play them. And now I think it's fun because in season 2 you could feel them writing for certain people, like you could just feel them.
like last night with Kat in the bar, like her comedy timing is so good. And it takes a little while to discover those strengths and actually be like, okay, cool, we can put Kat in a very funny scene and it will work, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun when that starts to happen.
Speaking of your strengths, that cheerleading. Is that in your background or was that learned for the show?
Well, I mean, it all crosses over, right? So I was a dancer, so I mean, it's basically just dancing with pom-poms in your hand. If we're honest, choreography has never been a problem. So I went away with a little video and kind of practiced in my bedroom. It was just like, oh god,
You used the Dallas Cowboys, right?
yeah, and
Or the cheer squad.
yeah, and amended their choreography a bit, kind of. Kate, I remember showing the director and being like, is this gonna be okay? And he was like,
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Pretty sure you broke the internet with that one.
There's been a few breaking the internet this year, I think.
What has the fan reaction been? I mean, I've seen the show grown so much from season 1 to season 2. What are you hearing now that the show is firing as it is?
It really has gone up so drastically. Like, the amount of people that seem to be watching the show is like doubled. It feels like, anyway, I don't know what you guys think, but it's just becoming more and more and a bigger
I
family.
think because of Netflix too, it really exposed the show to people who maybe wouldn't have seen it otherwise, which is awesome. So it's like, it's really nice that we're reaching kind of this new audience. Thanks guys.